to your farmers. If you guys become good professionals in terms of agriculture, academia, or some sort of a consulting opportunity, how do you guys do it? So these are the three things that we are going to talk about today. So as mentioned, I'll try to introduce you with the basic communication methods. It could be a verbal communication, it could be a non-verbal communication, and then probably the digital communication anyway. And much necessary in these particular days, because usually we used to read a newspaper and then say, okay, this has been done by somebody else, and then we can actually take that into perspective and then we can start off something previously. But now the things have become so interactive than things, so that the communication has been progressing really quick. Third one is what kind of communications are being addressed. As I said, verbal, non-verbal, digital, but more of my concentration will be on the digital side. Okay, so first, before we go into much more detail, I just want to tell you what communication is. So when we talk about communication is a simple term. Basically, so it could be anybody outside, out there. It could be a person that you know, a person that you might be interested in doing a business, or it might be a person that who might give you a job if you are looking for a job, or you are trying to convey a message to an entire class. Probably you are presenting something, or you might, doesn't matter. Message is something, communication is something that your ability to do it on the go and convince somebody to understand. So what is effective communication then? So effective communication is something, if you are trying to give out a message or an information, how well the other person is trying to understand that conversation or the message, how are they construing the things, how they are comprehending the message, and then how are they going to apply that thing. So if I'm teaching a class, you should be able to take the information, try to assimilate the information, comprehend based upon your thought process, and then try that. And most of them are getting that information and then transforming themselves into something else, and then using that information, then you say you are having effective communication. Okay. So generally, what happens is when you start a conversation, what the slide has is basically all the agriculture formats we have. So it is basically land preparation that you see. Can you see my scrolling button on the screen?
Sure.
Okay. So here we have entire agriculture sector here. So what we have is, in terms of identifying the crop or identifying the disease or anything on that particular sector, doing the land preparation aspects, doing the irrigation aspect, the land erosion aspect, doing drone spraying or drone monitoring situations, or any sort of weather data that you are looking at in the cropping scenario. So it could be a humidity sensor or a temperature sensor or any sort of a sensor that you are installing in there and then trying to get the results out of it, or you are trying to do a customized fertilization. So any information that you can pass to a cloud or to a device where you can be able to decimate is called as is basically the effective communication that you can do instantly. So generally what we do is, general communications do happen in our daily life. It could be a personal communication, interpersonal communications, or any sort of organizational communications. As a students or as a family members, you actually talk to everybody. Basically, your family. First is your family that you normally spend a lot of time with. Then comes your friends. Okay. Then comes your colleagues or peers. Colleagues in the sense your office mates or peers at your office or an organization or anything of that sort. And then comes your superiors or subordinates. If you are in an industry or an organization of a bigger sector, then you probably have your superiors who's actually supervising your work, or subordinates that you are actually managing a team. Okay. And there could be farmers that you might be talking to if you are into, because everybody out here as a student go into a different career formats. So somebody may go into banking sector, somebody may go into consulting sector. Somebody might join into a job on a private scale. So you will have an opportunity to talk to farmers or farmer producer organizations. Or you will be having a conversation with any of the collaborators of your thing. For example, Prashant is available today. He has done a master's, and then he is being already into these situations where he has some of these research projects that he might be doing, and then he has collaborators somewhere. It could be a national level collaborators or with the interdepartmental collaborators within the same university or same college. Or sometimes you have, if you are into industry, for example, if you are becoming an entrepreneur, so you might be communicating with your vendors or customers as well. So the communication generally in general terms will happen across the board, starting from your family or at your home to your office to anything on your business scale also. It could be personal ones, interpersonal ones, or a business proposition as well. Okay, do you accept that? So then comes a part wherein how do you actually communicate? Generally, what we do is normal conversations are always verbal conversations. Verbal conversation is basically when you talk to somebody or when you write and present to somebody is a verbal communication. So whenever we are trying to do here, whatever we are trying to do is a verbal communications here. Though you are using a digital format, I'm still doing a verbal conversation with all of you guys out here. So second one is a non-verbal communication. For example, most of you people may interview after this session, probably after you graduate, you are going to go to an interview session. It could be anything, for a job or for a situation where you're trying to get an association with somebody. You're going to go and meet a people. So there are a lot of things that actually communicate. Basically it's being communicated from you once you enter into the door. How you are dressed, how disciplined on time that you have been there, how are you talking, how are you nodding your head, are you smiling? There are so many non-verbal symptoms that we give out or communications that we say. So looking at frowning the eyes or smiling, whatever it is, those are all non-verbal communications. The third one is basically the digital communications. Digital communication is basically what we normally do in our regular format. So it could be a personal one. So everybody knows how we use a cell phone in a daily life. That's nothing but a digital format. So you do a WhatsApp chatting or a share chat for a personal communication, or you might be using some sort of a presentations that you might be doing, or you might be doing reels, you might be doing TikTok videos for a lot of audience to look at, or you might be doing some sort of a digital presentations altogether, or you are using applications or web pages where you will be looking at information or where you are presenting certain information. For example, if you have some sort of a blog that you are trying to create and then give out information, you are posting certain message of whatever your expertise is, or you are trying to review some sort of a topic from already experts who have already done things. You review the material, you present it to them. So that becomes a digital format wherein you're publishing it into something else, and then you're trying to send it across using certain websites or applications. Okay, so when you're trying to communicate, there are two things that you guys have to understand, or everybody has to understand, is there are three prerequisites. So how many people do I need to cover in a given span of time? So is it only one-on-one conversation or one-to-one conversation, what we call, or is it a group of students that I'm talking to, maybe about 5 or 6 people as a group discussion? Or am I talking to a bigger audience, like 30 to 40 students within a class, or maybe a farmer group that I'm connecting it to, or maybe number of scientists that I'm connecting it. And then the frequency that I do, am I doing it daily? Am I doing it once in a week? Or I'm doing it once for a lifetime? And then third one is the adaptability. So what is the situation where the farmer or any other person is, and then based upon your information, how adaptable are those to change based upon your information? It could be a lifestyle change. It could be their what do you call time changes that you can bring in their business, or you can bring more revenue to their business, whatever it might be. So their adaptability to your message so that they can utilize to gain the advantages that you are looking at. Okay, so if you are looking at that particular context, then comes, can you see my slides?
Yes, sir.
Okay, So please do interrupt me if you have any questions or anything in between also. No worries. It's not going to be a single kind of a lecture. So if it is interactive, please make it interactive. No worries. Okay. So when we talk about verbal communications, so what you guys have to understand, it could be your resume, it could be a research presentation, or it could be your idea that you want to put in. So the first and foremost thing is the content. So what is the thing that you want to talk about? When you say effective communication, your content has to be right on. What are you going to talk about? So what is the perspective that you want to bring to that particular arena and how you are trying to present it? Okay. So it could be organized ones. It could be what you call when you're doing a certain format, then you can do an indexing part of it, and then you can suggest as to what to go, where to go, and how things come one after the other, so that everything is sequential and everything is connected, and then everything gives you a specific message onto that particular protocol. Okay. Second thing is the outreach. So now the second question is, how many members are you want to reach? Outreach. Basically, it's basically how many people that you want to get this message to. So is it for 100 people? Is it for thousands of people? Is it for the entire country, or is it for the outer world, entire world as such? So what would be your outreach, and how quickly that you want to get your message out? So that one is also important. Third thing is your impact. So if I'm doing this particular thing, what is my impact on the other person? For example, if I take just an example of your resume. So when you are trying to put in a resume to some organization or for a job position, so there is a certain format to write a resume. So you have to have your name, date, and not the date, so your address and everything on the top, and then your profile. So basically, it should the entire information should be on one page, and then it gives you the first 4 or 5 lines or the highlights, whatever that you are giving. The profile statement should give me the entire highlights of what you have done. So if you have had about 10 years of experience in certain thing, just say 10 years experience in this particular content. Then you say whatever that achievements that you have done, and then tell in single sentence as to how that transformation has occurred. And then go down to back up that particular content. So what were your educational qualifications that made you to do this? What were your what do you call your industrial or any task that you have performed, which actually backs your content, your expertise? And then comes your accolades or acknowledgements, and then first and foremost is your objective. Why are you seeking this particular resume? Is it for a job? Is it for an association? Is it for an MOU? Is it for anything? It could be a resume or a statement of purpose. It could be anything. So the content, the outreach, and the impact. So if you want to send it to everybody out there, you put it in naukri.com or careerbuilder.com or anything. You are able to be reached out to so many people. Okay. Or if you want to do it only for certain type of industries, for example, if you want to do it in only pesticide industry, I'm just taking an example here. So then you go out, search a website called as indeed.com. You search out institutions where things are there, and then you can post it to a specific institute or the entire frame of that particular institutes which are in that particular focus zone. It could be a pesticide or fertilizer or any of that sort. And then the impact. So the impact is basically when you are delivering a lecture or when you are trying to present your resume, how much impact that you can bring on. Basically, at the end of the resume, there has to be content where it says what you can bring on to the table. If I hire you, what is the added advantage that you are going to bring it on to? So when your impact is when you have stated the thing, and then that has to be within a 30-second, you should be able to figure out, okay, this guy could be shortlisted. I'm just taking an example of a resume. It could be for a research or it could be for a business idea also. When you're trying to present a business idea, what you say in that 30 seconds, how many of you people have looked at Shark Tank or Dragon's Den? It's a program wherein you pitch your business. You go there, they give you 1 minute or 2 minutes of time. You have to explain your business, and then you have to present in front of the audience who are investors. Same thing, exactly the same thing. Wherever you're trying to communicate, it's the same thing. Your content and your impact, so that the investments can flow in or a job can be attracted. or in a business could be attracted. So these are the three things everybody should understand as to content, outreach, and impact. Okay. The next thing is the basic attributes. Whenever you're going communicate, you have to understand and then look into these four things. One is, who are you trying to address? Okay. Second thing is, what are you trying to convey? Third thing is, why this is more important, or why this is needed, why this particular message is needed, and what would it do for you? And then at the end, how would you do it? If I'm trying to present to a farmer, for example, I'll just take an example of a farmer. So when it says who, it means who is presenting and who is your audience as well. For example, if I come in there with about like 1 year experience and then just speak out about a topic, people won't believe me. Maybe it might be right, but thing is, an expert who has a little bit of an experience, if we can share some knowledge into that particular aspect, people will believe, because it is backed up by about like 10 years of expertise into that area of focus, or an organization that he or she is working in, to give suggestions. And I have to understand my audience as well. Whom am I talking to? So if I'm talking to a student, then the tone will be different, the presentation will be different. If I'm presenting it to the staff of the university, the agriculture professionals, especially the academic instructors in your college, then the level is going to be a little more steeper. So I'll step up a little. So if my audience are scientists, for example, then it is altogether a different approach altogether. And if it's a farmer, then I go back to my grassroots level, I start from the basics. So you have to understand the audience when you start a communication. And then you have to understand the situation where you are trying to talk to also. So you go and talk to somebody in a situation, you have to understand who you are talking to. If the audience are mixed audience, then you have to understand and then cater both of them. So as to how you put in, how you voice modulation is being done, how you are actually bringing in real life scenarios into the context. The second thing is basically, what are you trying to talk about? So it is the most important thing. So it is like a literature for the entire publication. So what are you talking about? Are you really expert in that? And then have you done your background study as to what the content that you are trying to present? Did you pull up a lot of information? Did you compile it properly? Did you actually arrange it so that it makes more sense? And then at the end, does it make any sense? And then does it give me something so that the other people can take it? And then they can use that information that could be useful for them, or it could change their lifestyle. So, or you can, it's not only the talk, it could be an intervention. It could be some sort of a practice that you're trying to tell a farmer. You say, okay, you go to a farmer and you tell them, okay, sir, you're doing it this way, but if you do it this way, then it will work. It's an intervention that you're trying to add. If you say, well, you can add this particular spray in this particular timeline of your crop, and then it will increase the yield, or it could reduce the lodging, or it could do a what you call seed filling. It could be anything. It could be a cultural practice. It could be a biological process. It could be anything that an intervention could also be. It can also be a part of that. So what you teach. Third one is the why. Why is the most important thing. So when you are a presenter, if you are a student and you are trying to present to a farmer, or because you're all agri professionals, when you go back into your life, one day or the other, you are going to talk to a farmer, no matter what you are into an industry, you are into any other domains. But I'm taking this as an example because that's where your challenges would come in. So when I'm trying to propose something, when I say why, it means why this is important. Why should I, as a customer, or as a receiver, why should I do this? So wherein you have to put in a value proposition. Does it bring in a change in the time I'm doing it in a day? And if this intervention can lower the time to half a day or maybe to an hour, I'll say okay. If it is costing less than what I'm actually coming to, especially if I'm spending about 20 rupees per certain thing, and then you bring this intervention, and then you say, okay, everything could be done in 10 rupees. This is economical for me. Is it changing my input values also, the numbers of the inputs? And is it increasing my yield? What is the outcome that I'm getting out of it? And is it really adaptable? For example, if I'm taking a tractor to a farm or something else, for example, I'll just tell you a small example. If I have to do a soil sampling, I'll do a soil sampling and then I'll want to test my results. What am I doing now? I'll send my results to a lab which is almost about 100 kilometers from my field, and then wait for about 20 days to get the results, or maybe a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, depending upon the volume of samples in that particular facility. And I wait until that results will come. If I give you a value proposition and I tell you, oh, no, you don't have to go anywhere, but if you take this equipment, do the study yourself, it is doable, it's a DIY kind of a stuff, and then you can get the results right away. In the sense, within a half a day, you can do it. It doesn't need much of a skill. And that is a value proposition that you are trying to do. I get my information right in no time. It could be financial, it could be a timeline, it could be a, facility that you're trying to provide, like a comfortability, I would say. And when people are looking at the proposition and then say, okay, I'll now have it, then the last one is how to do it. So basically, when you're trying to tell them an intervention or anything, then you explain the process as to how things happen. So that includes the step-by-step situations. So you have to have all these questions: who, what, why, how, and then it's the same thing you put into format in any communication. If I'm trying to talk to one of the students who is not who has difficulty in understanding, so I have to talk to that particular student and then try to explain him, and then try to explain the content in different ways, so that I should be able to tell them as to why this is needed or why this topic is needed in their life, or what the value addition that it could do in terms of the other things to put it together, wherein you can get a wholesome approach. Okay. So the next point is basically, whenever we are trying to do a communication, as I said, we come to the first point wherein we do a lot of verbal communications. So in the verbal communications, it is basically a presentation that we are doing. Right now, what I'm doing is a presentation to you guys. It is, although it's a digital format, it's a verbal communication that I'm trying to present. So it could be to a public, or it could be a small group of communication, or it could be intrapersonal, basically within yourself if you are talking, or if you are talking to somebody whom you know and you are conveying a message. So different kinds of verbal communications are there, wherein you are trying to understand yourself and then you give a thought. For example, in the morning, you go to the terrace, you talk to yourself, basically, or when you are doing a walking, you try to analyze what you have done in the last few days, and then you plan out for something for the next day, or you can do a daily task review as to what has been done and how did I achieve it, if it could have been done differently. So that is a communication that you are doing in yourself. And if you are doing an interpersonal, basically you are trying to talk to 2 or 3 people in you are doing intercommunication. And most of the time it happens through a oral talk or through a message that you could send it on a paper or through a message. Okay. If how you are trying to do it, a public communication, how you are doing a small group of communication depends upon the type of audience and also the amount of time that you have for going there. Are you doing a mass communication? Are you trying to send in a message to a lot of people to reach out? For example, if you are trying to do, if you have a business and then you want to reach out to a community within yourself, what would you do? You actually send out flyers. You share your brochures, or you put in a banner somewhere. You do some sort of a public communication, and then that group that you are trying to convey the message, it could be a smaller one, it could be a small colony that you are in, or it could be the entire city, or if you are trying to do a public communication like in digital formats or do any other things, you are putting it into a newspaper and then asking that entire Hyderabad has to be circulated. It's done. Even your flyer can go all the way. Or if you are trying to present it on a newspaper on the first page, it can go all the way across India if you are doing it in a national newspaper. So the communication that you are trying to achieve depends upon how much that you are trying to, what kind of message that you are trying to pass on, and then how quickly that you want, and what are your target audience. Okay. So when we talk about the non-verbal communications, this is what is basically, as I said, these are the small indicators that you give out. It could be a posture, it could be a body language, it could be a eye contact that you're talking, it could be a voice modulation. When you're trying to talk to somebody, you can tell whether that guy is interested or not based upon his voice. If somebody is interested, their pitch is going to be different, their voice is going to be different. If somebody is not interested, then they just fall back and then they just look at their what do you call phone, and then they say, "Oh, okay, go ahead, go on." So based upon the gestures that they give, it also tells you how things would be done. Okay, and then the next one is basically the presentations that you are trying to give out, personal presentation. So sitting, how you are actually waving your hands, how you are actually talking, all those things. And then the next one is the time that you are actually looking at. So are you on time? Are you late to a meeting, or are you completing your meeting way ahead? So if they give you to talk about 10 minutes and then you complete in 1 minute and then say, okay, my time is up. This is all I'm going to tell you. No, that's not an effective communication. If somebody gives you 1 hour, you have to utilize that 1 hour so that you can be expressive as possible, so that you're trying to convey a message. Okay, and then your facial expressions also matter the most. So how you're trying to talk to the people, how you're trying to deliver a message, is both of them go parallel. So your voice, your facial expression, and also your presentation skills and your time, everything goes together. So verbal communications are important, but non-verbal communications make a lot of difference. Okay, and I'm entering into the third aspect. So now we know what actually can we do in terms of verbal and non-verbal communication. Now the most important part is the digital communication. So everybody is using a smartphone these days, right? So everybody has a digital communication. It may be a SMS, may it be a phone call, may it be through a WhatsApp chat, or it could be a share chat, it could be anything. So basically, on a personal note, we do. On a professional note, also we do. So there's so many things. Do anybody know what is a Slack, or do anybody know what's a LinkedIn profile? So these are all the things we do it in the professional or business circles. So wherein you're present, you are putting out your resume, or you are putting out your activities in there, and then you're saying to everybody to look at, and then they can reach out to you. This is a digital communication that you're trying to do. And then in the part of business, there are so many things, like people do advertising in TikToks, people do advertising in marketing in WhatsApp groups. They create a flyer, they just post it in the morning, and then it goes out all the way, right? And then there are a lot of research that comes in. There are certain research articles, somebody has found something, nearly a good thing, or a good innovation, or good thing that you find. That is also published. So digital communication is something that is the most happening thing right now. So previously to this, maybe about 10 years from before today, or probably 15 years from now, in the sense, back in 2000, early 2000s, or late 1990s, we never had this digital communication there. If we had to learn some research article, or if you wanted to look at some news, especially all we had was go to a library and then dig into books. And then you go into library, you have so many books there, and then you go into a certain section, you pick up a book based upon the Dewey Decimal Classification, and then you find your book, and then you try to browse to that particular focused areas wherein you try to get as much information as possible. Nowadays, everything is in your hand. You go and type in something in Google or any of the Yahoo or any search engine, and then you get n number of articles which are related, unrelated. And again, same thing. What you get information is not always accurate. In the digital format, nobody is verifying the news unless and until it is being published by an organization with a valid reputation, and then they take the responsibility. So digital communication is wherein you are trying to publish information. It could be a blog, or it could be a magazine, or it could be anything. But the information is right there. Take the information, do think as to what you want to do with the information. Try to think with your intellect, not just take the information and then use it. So you have to understand if it works or not based upon the authenticity of the publisher or the organization that is being done. Okay. So in this particular thing, why we have to, my topic now goes to the second level, wherein I wanted to use your time to introduce you to new things in the digital space, so that because most of you guys are going to graduate in a year or two. There's a lot of things happening in the digital space where we as agriculture students need to take that opportunity to grab those ones. So why digital? So when we are trying to have a lot of communication, the question is why we have to do it digital, because nothing was digital before, everything worked, right? So now we have, why we have to do digital, because it is very effective. So if I put a post, if I put in my advertisement in a Facebook, I get tagged somewhere. And then if I do an Instagram post somewhere, so many people get tagged, and then automatically it reaches to number of people that I know. For example, you have sent me a message. If I tag you, if I do a what do you call, subscribe your channel, automatically whoever is in my portfolio, my contact addresses, everybody will know that okay, something is going on here. They will be able to look at your message. So it's very effective in terms of transmission of the data. Second is you are able to reach a larger audience. For example, if you are putting a flyer, maybe on the notice board of your college, okay, how many people will look at the will come and look at the notice board? Probably about 10 students or 20 students, or maybe the entire class, right? If I put it in the website, then whoever comes into my website is again. Second thing is, if I ask some of the students to put it in your class groups, if I share a message and then ask them to put it in their class groups, automatically, instantly everything is gone, and then everybody knows about the message. For example, you said we have a session coming at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock from Satish sir, and then everybody joined in because the notification has gone in, and then it is so effective that everybody, a larger piece of audience, can come into the scenario and hear to the lecture. And then you can do it multiple times. If I'm trying to post a message today, like a good morning post, every day when you open up your phone, every day there will be a number of messages from everybody saying good morning. I mean, it's a good wish. But thing is, you can do that n number of times, like 5 times a day, 10 times a day, 20 times a day. Not a good morning, but you can go to that particular thing, and then you can do a lot of publishing. It could be a Instagram or a Facebook or anything. You can upload a lot of pictures, you can do a lot of chats and everything. And everything reaches instantly. So you are posting a picture, it's gone. And then somebody says, I'm going to this particular place on their profile picture. And then everybody in the class will know, okay, this guy or this girl is not here, and then they are posting a picture somewhere. So, and you can, second, and the most important thing is, in the digital format, you can be very creative. When you take a picture, when you try to make a presentation, when you're trying to project something, you can be as creative as you can. So the creativity aspect can also be brought in. And then you can add visuals to it, you can add audio clips to it, you can always present it in a different kind of a format. It could be some sort of a Disney character can come in and then speak on behalf of you. You can do a lot of wonders to it, because to make the presentation more appealing, you can bring in a lot of actions into the presentations. And then you can, second thing is basically when you are trying to do a digital, you can do a digital demonstration. Somebody, for example, one of you find something in a ELP program, something is working, then you can go to the field, you can showcase, and then you can demonstrate as to how this particular thing can be done. If you are saying that if you are harvesting a crop in this particular fashion and then store it certain way, the shelf life of the particular product can be increased by 30% of the time. If it is there for about 20 days, you can increase by up to 30 days. If you are doing a cold storage aspect, you can increase certain thing. If you are doing a triple bagging technique, you can save it from the store grain pest, and then you can increase the shelf life of the product. So you can demonstrate certain things that could be done through a digital format, and it could be given out to a larger audience. The last and the most important thing is you can compare. So a lot of people, whenever we say digital format, it is not only for news or a lot of information that we need to get. It is about comparisons also. For example, if I want to buy a TV for myself, or any idea for myself. For example, if I want to buy a TV, then what I'll do, I go to Amazon.com and then look at the price, and then I'll try to look at whatever model that I need to go, and then I go to Chroma website, I go to Flipkart, I go to AskMeBazaar.com, I go to a number of websites that you have. So you have a digital space where you can compare with the local stores as to how much it's costing, and how much your product in the website is costing. I mean, I'm trying to say the same thing for an agri product or your idea also, or your presentations also. You can compare the information, you can compare the products, you can compare the services also, wherein somebody can give you a review and then do the things. So digital space can be utilized to your benefit. Okay. So coming to the new technologies that we are trying to get to as to how the digital space or digital communication is being utilized in agriculture. So before I go in, any questions until so far? Because I want to make it interactive. Nothing that I want to stop the lecture here. So any questions on the previous things that need to have a clarification on? No? So when you think now I am trying to present out here is how and what are the things that needs a digital communication in agriculture. So as the picture points out here, it will tell you as to how the soil preparation, so how the soil preparation is being done, how the pre-planting has been done. So there are a lot of initiatives or interventions that can be digitized. So it could be used for a lot of situations where pest control could be digitized, cultivation aspects can be digitized, water management aspects can be digitized, harvesting can be digitized. Everything could be done on a formatting thing. Okay. So how do we actually do these presentations, or how do we get the information? So most of the times what happens is in the digital space, you are utilizing a lot of things on applications. You go to a Google Play Store and then you can find out these apps, or you can go into their websites. And then now you are trying to see different kinds of website. I'm just taking a few of the, examples out here. It could be Agri Portal, it could be a Agri Predict, or it could be a Coromandel website, or it could be the Plantix website as such, Kisanwala or Farm Precise, Farm Predict, a lot of things. There are so many websites out there which actually give you a lot of information on different aspects, as pointed out here. Like in this particular thing, you can find a lot of information on which type of a seed is good for this particular area, or how the soil health may have to be managed, or what kind of fertilizer that needs to be done, what is the pest control that need to be added, a lot of things that. So when we are looking at these particular websites or apps, you can go into these apps and then you can monitor the information what was previously or historically been there, and how you are going to get the information so that you could get to know and get to understand for your scenario to be fit in. Okay. So the next aspect, what I'm going to give you a glimpse. I'm just going to give you a glimpse of just the new agri startups that are coming in India right now. Basically, everything is divided into 5 sectors. So first one is the market linkages. Second thing is the farmers. Basically, I come from this thing. So farm inputs is the first thing. Precision agriculture is the second thing. Financial services is the third thing. Farming as a service is the fourth thing. Market linkages is the fifth thing. So I'm just having these slides as such. So there's so many companies out there within India as well, or outside the country, wherein it could be a Crow Farm or EcoZen or Waycool, Ninja Card, FarmLink, Mera Kisan. A lot of things are trying to communicate. If you are a producer, they will provide a forward linkages to your crop that you are producing. So they will give you a heads up as to, okay, you go to ENAM website, National Agriculture, the buying place for the agriculture farmers, or the mandi is what we call. So how much is being given out in terms of MSP or a specific selling price for that particular product in Warangal or in Hyderabad or in Nanded, or it could be in Delhi. So it will give you an exact number as to what kind of a product and how much amount that you could get. And it can connect you to ENAM website will give you things, and then these websites can also connect your product to the actual utilizer. Basically, it could be an industry or it could be a customer as such. There are other websites which we have are for inputs. So a lot of input websites are there. It could be Coromandel, it could be any John Deere, New Holland. It could be any equipment manufacturer or seed manufacturer or fertilizer manufacturer. So many inputs, farm inputs. Also, you can also have water management technologies also are things. Then comes the precision farming. Precision farming is how how close that you can go in to address the problem. If you have 5 acres of land and you have only half acre which is damaged, you don't want to spray for the entire 5 acres. You can go in and then spray exactly where it is needed. So that precision agriculture and the timing of that particular intervention is being detected through a different kinds of modules, through a weather parameters. There are a lot of other things that predictive and suggestive modeling operations. And then Fasal, Cropping, Agri-Photel, Albino, Krishi have a lot of things. And then third thing and the fourth most thing is the farming as a service. So people are into this particular domain because some of you might are consultants, you might become consultants, you might become entrepreneurs. So if you are trying to start off something, you want to do a consulting. So a lot of people out here trying to consult and then say, sir, I want to become a landscapist. So when people say a landscape is a service that you are trying to bring in, it's not a farming as a service, but you are trying to bring in aesthetic sense to that particular domain or a building or infrastructure so that it looks beautiful and you are providing it as a service. It could be anything that you are bringing it as a service. And then the last one is basically the financial modules and then insurance aspects and all those things. Samunati is one of the good ones. Yeah, the Ergos is another one. These are all the companies that actually provide you the financial services also. So at the end of the day, what is the purpose of these is to identify the problem of anything. It could be a financial problem, it could be a production problem, it could be a pre-planting problem, it could be a disease or a pest problem, it could be anything. So we use digital formats or these applications to identify the problems at the farm level or situations where you could utilize for agriculture. And then you are trying to you provide information to all the stakeholders. For example, if that particular problem needs a lot of stakeholders to be involved, then the message goes out and then says, okay, there is a pest problem here, and the logistics people have to come, the spraying people have to come, the chemical people have to come, the service providers has to come. So all the stakeholders can be given out the information simultaneously, and then the activities can be initiated. So they say, okay, you can always give them a timeline. You can give them a Gantt chart and then say, okay, this particular thing has to be ended in another 3 days. The first day you do this, second day you do this, the third day you do this, and then the output will come in it. And then same way you can do a planning and strategy. How you have to plan out to do an operation, and then how you strategize, what needs to be done, how you strategize. And then later the execution of these activities can be done and a feedback can also be taken. And then the final thing is basically the crop advisory. For example, if I want to give an advisory to a farmer or a student or anything. If I want to give a student, somebody wants to go to US. I'm just taking an example. I can send them the website of the university, and then I can also list them out what are the prerequisites. It could be an English proficiency or a logic proficiency, graduate requirement, and all those things could be done. Same way with the crop advisory also. If there is something in the particular context needs a crop advisory, it could be a digital mapping, it could be a crop health monitoring, it could be early stage disease detection, or it could be a pest problem that you have it in the farm, or a nutrient deficiency that you have in the farm that needs an advisory. These are all the purposes at which this digital space is being utilized. So as provided here, it is basically to reduce the inputs, to increase the agriculture productivity, increase the farm income, and also to bring in a lot of people to make sure that it happens properly. And you are also creating an opportunity for a lot of people to work in this format. So you are creating a job, you are providing a job opportunities, and then it also can be used for technology transfer. Something has been done somewhere, and then you can use and replicate the same information or reproduce the same amount of yield using that particular innovation or intervention. You can use it, and then this entire thing will give you a lot of food security and nutrition. So at the end of the day, it is, when we talk about agriculture, the most important thing is everybody does agriculture, but a lot of thing happens in a different format. So if I assume that I get 20 tons of a material and I don't get it, so why is that we are unable to achieve that? Is because of the lack of predictability of things. So digital agriculture, digital agriculture or digital space will give you a lot of predictability, or you can say you can do a what do you call, you can do a prediction into the future a little bit, and you can also bring in profitability. So the entire operations, when you assign it properly and then do the transfer, technology transfer, you use all these things, profitability will increase, and also the transparency. So when previously what happens was, there used to be situations where there is a distributor, there is a wholesaler, then there is a farmer, and our intervention would come in at a certain stage. Now, bringing in a lot of things like blockchain technology, which actually decentralizes all the servers, and then when you are trying to sell it to a certain distributor, automatically you acknowledge that, okay, I have sent 2000 tons of material, and automatically they say, okay, we have received 2000 tons of material. This is the amount that I'm paying you back, and then it comes digitally into your bank, and everything is transparent, and no one can come in and then do a modification or hack or anything. Now, previously, what was happening? It used to go into servers, and then someday or some other possibility is there wherein the numbers could be tweaked in, or some sort of information could have been lost due to lack of server maintenance or some sort of hacking that could happen. But look, bringing in the blockchain technology also has improved the transparency. And at the foremost thing is, the timely and wise decisions could be made utilizing the lot of information that we have. Okay, so the next slide, what I'm trying to give you is a couple of examples as to how the digital technology is being used. So if you have a pest problem, okay, if you have a pest problem, a farmer looks at a pest, or you as a student or agri professional go into a farm, and then you spot something. You don't know if it is a pest problem or a disease problem, or it could be a nutritional problem, or it could be a physical damage. You don't know what it is. So what you do is, you take a picture of that particular crop, you send it across, or you open up their website, or you open up their app, and then you take a picture, send it across. What happens? This image will go to the server, and it will automatically be flagged by the administrator, and then automatically it goes to the expert who is sitting in their premises, and then automatically they look at the message and then say, okay, no, this is the Syrpophaga incertulus. In the rice, it's a Syrpophaga incertulus, which does some sort of a thing. Or somebody might say, oh no, this is the damage of a grape girdler in your horticulture perspective. Or somebody might say, okay, no, this is from Liriomyza trifoli. So they could the serpentine leaf miner. So the expert advice will come, and then they will provide you recommendations also. So they say, okay, what was your situation? How much fertilizer that you have added? They will ask you some inputs. Did you do an irrigation yesterday or something? You can get the information, and automatically they'll suggest you the expertise. Or they'll say, if you have not irrigated in last 5 days, do this. If you have irrigated yesterday and then you are irrigating today, you do this. If you have a temperatures or weather parameters like this, you do this. They'll give you a crop recommendations as to how you have to do this. This is based upon the predictive technology and also suggestive technology. Basically, suggestive advisory is basically on the previous historical data that they have, based on the simulatory models that they have run, and then they'll tell you, okay, in this particular month, this particular time, you might be expecting this particular pest. So before the pest comes in, we advise you to go in and spray this thing. So as a preventary measure, rather than a curative action, we want you to be preventive. Do this crop rotations to ensure that there is not a resistance that's going to happen, or you do a border cropping. A lot of things could be done on the consulting side. Basically, you get a specific exercise on the advisory part. The second example that I want to give you, how the digital space is now coming up, is basically a lot of things are happening in the market wherein a lot of farmers are giving, and then you guys are the prime source of transmitting or transforming the information here. So you are farmers, and you are suggesting as to how the farmers need to get their product, or how the traders need to get the product, or you are helping the companies to get to these people, and then you are being the middleman to suggest as to which farmer has the best yield, which quality yield that you can procure, and then how the farmers have been doing these operations. You can do a georeferencing, and then you can do certifications as such, and then you transfer the information to these people, and then logistics people will come in, or aggregator will come in. They pull in the product, they'll take it to the industry, and then they do a value addition or a warehousing, and then or a cold storage facility, and then they can do a marketing later. So in the entire supply chain, agri professionals are really, really important to play their role. So in the first context, you as a professional, you are trying to take a message, and then you are trying to convey the message to a farmer that there is a pest problem. In the second example, you are trying to being a liaison from a farmer or from an organization to showcase a product of a valued product so that it has a market value. You can showcase them a support price for a farmer or support for a price for your business entity also. Third example is about the digitization. Digitization has gone so far that looking at the crop canopy. In the case of soil science, most of the things we say, okay, is it the topography of a soil makes a lot of difference in your agriculture yields. So digitization has gone so far. They take your entire what do you call the farm, and then they do a digital elevation mapping, and then they say this particular area is a low lying, so probably you might get this particular problem. The problem of aphids might come in, the problem of thrips might come in, because the humidity levels might go up, because the temperature is not reaching to the bottom part of it, and this is facing south side, your slopes are south side, so you might have a problem with this particular thing. Probably you might have to have a shade trees planted. The second aspect is basically we can also, the digitization has gone so far, if you have a plantation crops, especially for horticulture, this thing has been taken in a crop called as tea. In this particular, tree is almost works out for about 80 years, 90 years, and then trees do die in between. So this particular picture will tell you how many trees are there in the plant population, and then how you can do a vacancy analysis. So you can spot how many vacancies are there in my area, and then onto your right side here you can see what are the grids. So within this farm, I can go directly and then say, okay, this is 20% of vacancy here, so I can start planting here, and then I can go to a lighter areas, lighter shades. Okay. So, and then same thing could be reflected as to how you are trying to project, and then how the data information is being projected, and then how things are being done. And then you can get onto the dashboards, and then you can look at the data. Why am I doing this? Is because I want you to understand that digitization is the thing that you guys have to understand, and then keep your ways into it, so that you can do a lot of communication to the farmers, with your peers, with your friends, and then you can enter into a business model, or you can enter into a job wherein you can utilize all these things. The entire valuation that I'm talking about is about all the things, and entire digitization is happening in all these fronts, all these area of focuses that you are looking at. Okay, so most of the things where we are heading is basically, if you have situations where you are unable to do any predictions or any suggestions to somewhere because of the slope, because of the places that you are unable to go in. So where we can use a lot of other things like drones, satellite imagery, mobile applications, and all those things. I'm leaving it this particular way so that you can understand the long distance travel for input marketplaces that can come in. So farm to retail. Previously, what we used to say is customer to customer, or a B2C market. So then went into B2B market. Now there is one called as a D2C, not even D2B. Now D2C is directly from the farmer to the customer. Doing seeds farm or any other agriculture inputs that are being grown as an organic, farmers are directly giving it to customers, so that they are eliminating the middleman. They are utilizing the digital technology to market their product and also give their product as well. So the students of horticulture or the agri professionals of horticulture will have a major impact in this particular sector, wherein you can do a lot of value addition. Using this digital thing, you can do a marketing of these products, you can do a trading, you can do wonders in trying to get the farm product to the next level. Or your ideas could be taken to the next level to go into further domains. Okay, so how do, knowing all these things, because I think I'm running out of time here. So So what do we do basically when we go into these things? How do we stand out? So I know how are these things when we try to communicate. What are the things that I need to do? I need to understand is basically you plan ahead as to what you want to do. So and try to start looking at the literature. Try to be proficient in your own thing. So if you are trying you are trying to become a horticulturist or landscapist or any somebody might be interested in statistics. Even coming from horticulture, you want to go into a different format. So be proficient in your own expertise, take a couple of years of experience, and then improve your skill set. When you improve your skill set and a network, then comes the opportunities. When the opportunities will come in, these all communication methods will help you. How to go sit in front of a people, how do you present. So each of the thing which, if time permits, in the next time I'll take only on the verbal communication separately, so that you will be able to understand as to how things could be done, how you would present yourself, how the non-verbal communications could be done, and how you actually grab opportunities coming out onto the stage at that particular context, as to how you are going with a clear mind with a lot of information. So the takeaway for this particular day is basically the key to success is basically convey what you know and what you can achieve. So basically, when you are going to certain person, it could be a job seeker or it could be anything, you have to be in a position to convey your message as to what you are or what you know already. Because so if people might be doing a PhDs, might be doing a masters, but they might not be able to speak properly or present themselves properly. Unless you are presenting your topic properly, you will not be able to get the response that you are expecting from the other side. So it could be anything. Whenever you're when we say presenting the topic of your interest or any of the things that you are trying to convey a message. So any questions on this topic? So I'll try to end this so that I would like about 15 to 20 minutes for your questions and then start from there. Any questions on the topic?
Satish, this is Gaidwani.
Hello.
Excellent presentation. In fact, I was wondering this could be split up into 3 lectures, I think. Digitalization in agriculture, everything. And in fact, I would like to ask only one thing. How can a resume have an impact on the recruiter, in fact? Impact means I'm going to write on my own, like saying that I'm an expertise in so and so and so and so. Does it make any difference? Like anyway, credibility is regarding the particularly your marks or everything, your experience. Simply saying that I can do this and that, does it have any impact on the recruiter? What I mean is, I want to be an achiever in so and so. I can say I can do this for your company firm. I can enhance the skills, etc. No, I don't have that skill, but I might be reflecting it in my resume. Is it okay?
Yes, a wonderful question, madam. And then, as coming to your first point, definitely, because this is, I want to give them a broad perspective as to how the communication will happen this today. And then I'm going to take a few more lectures individually when time permits, based upon the presenters and everything. I'll be splitting up into different things so that it will be more of a behavioral as well as personality development class, so that our students will be benefiting most into verbal, non-verbal, and digital communication aspect separately. Coming to your second question, resume, because I have been on a lot of interviews. I have recruited almost about 500 to 600 students and experts on different arenas and different companies. First and foremost thing is when we apply, when we open up a job profile, there are about a minimum of about 50 applications could come in, and each generally going through different kinds of scenarios. Uh, a present or a recruiter or a person who is actually reviewing the resume usually takes about 1.5 minutes at the max, 1 minute to 1.5 minutes to review everything, or 30 seconds to actually glide through, or scan through their entire resume, and then if something clicks out, they'll try to read through into detail. So the most important thing is basically when we are writing a resume, normally when we look at students' resume for that matter, not going into the professionals. I'll come to the professionals in a second. First, coming to the students, they write, my objective is to enter into a certain organization of yours, and I want to do this and do this. And then immediately they jump in and then say, I have studied in SLKSTS, Kondalakshman Horticulture University, and then my marks percentage is this, and then intermediate this and this, and then at the end they'll write, these are my topics of interest, and then they write, I am good at playing cricket, I am good at playing tennis, and all those things, their hobbies, and then at the very end they write the entire credential, their history, basically who they are, which address they are coming from, and all those things. And at the very end, there is a testimonial saying that, or an acknowledgement saying that, okay, I give it based upon my thought. I am just presenting it. Every information is correct to my knowledge, and that's it. But when as a recruiter or as a reviewer, I'm trying to look at a student who actually takes time. First, I look at the content. What I'm looking at is how they are presenting. So if they are really good at presenting their resume, they spend time to make sure that there are no grammatical mistakes, they are equally font, and everything is uniform. The first thing that comes in. Second thing is basically I'm looking at what actually are the contributions. As somebody, as Madam has actually asked, does marks are going to determine my or influence my recruiting process? Definitely, marks are not a thing to judge a person, but thing is, it is a guide to actually look at. And then somebody says, okay, I have 95% context, and then automatically things go, okay, this guy might, or this girl or guy might be somebody who I can look at. So automatically the resume will be shortlisted. Maybe out of that 50 resumes, I'll take 10 resumes aside, and then I'll discard the 40 resumes. In order for us to get into that 10 resumes, the presentation is very important. If in the first thing, you can say that this is my objective, this is where I'm trying to go. I don't have much of an expertise for now, but with my experience with different kinds of subjects that I have gone through in my course, I'm pretty confident that I will be able to handle lot many things that you can offer. Okay. Second thing is what I can bring it onto your table. Basically, if I've been recruited into your company, what am I going to get? So I can get contacts. I can get a lot of research situations that I can bring people in together. I can actually be a part of the team to try to learn, try to put my ideas, and then try to get it better. That's what I'm trying to look at in the resume. So the presentation of a resume makes a lot of difference from first set to the second set. Anyways, once it's shortlisted, people come in, and then automatically there will be a conversation through an interview panel, and then they will be guided as Madam has pointed out. I might not be proficient in something, but I might write on my resume saying that I'm very good at Excel, I'm very good at this thing. If somebody comes in and saying that, oh, I'm very good at Excel, then I'll ask the first question: can you write a macro for me? Can you write this formula? Can you type in a formula if I want to have this? Can you do a VLOOKUP? Can you do a HLOOKUP? That's it. I don't have to do anything. If somebody is writing a macro on certain thing, I'll understand that he is very proficient in things. So there is a second stage wherein people will go to the second stage, and then the actual technical, evaluation will happen. Did I answer your question, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. 100% understood. Yeah, we need to have an elaborate session on this, Satish. What I think is we can split into 3 lectures, and first one is going to be your how to write your resume, how truthful you are in writing your resume, and the other thing is you need to have one more on digitalization in agriculture. I think we'll have a separate webinar that would have been better. I really wonder why people are not being communicated properly, because only a few have joined today. Is it Prashant? Did you communicate to all? I know. Why is only a few are joining in this? No.
Chetna said the second years are having their exams, midterm examinations, so most of them are
What
not.
about the other people from Mojala? I could have communicated to them. That would have Prashant and other people from Mojala. They are too much interested. In fact, they wanted to join here. Can we widen this club membership? Satish? Even I'm going to, in fact, pass on the information to others. I'm ready to do it. But we need more participation because today's lecture was really wonderful. In fact, I was impressed.
Thank you.
It has to be reached to so many other people. At least we can share ideas. That is my goal, in fact.
The
Excellent,
entire
Satish.
digitization can take almost about 2 to 3 hours. So, I mean, we
Exactly.
can always split digitization into 3 different formats. And then I
Yes.
can take each thing on drone and satellite based networking. I can take things on IoT and then
Yes.
separately app making and other things. Basically, how to utilize your apps to enhance your profitabilities, how you actually use it for linkages here and there, both upstream and downstream, and also how you use your IoT technologies. It could be the simplest way is switching off your motor from here, or doing a small gadget adaptations that you can bring in. A lot of things that could be made from the IoT point of view. And then satellite
Who
and
is
drone
going to
technologies.
train our people? Sorry, Satish, who is going to train our people? Like, if I want to venture into that, like, you want to have a digital platform, enter into a digital platform, just like, and I want to sell my produce there, and a student might be interested in a trading. And is there any separate wing which, how do you help our people in doing this digital platform? Like, how
Yeah.
do they enter into?
Yeah. Thing is basically when there are students who want to get into some of these IoTs and then to want to understand as to what and how things work, I can always connect to a lot of people, a lot of institutes who are actually working on IoTs, especially on sensor technologies and on these apps and other things. I can connect them on the ELP part of it, but they have to be very interested coming in there, because the industry actually would like to have people who can be a part of their team after that. So somebody coming in just for a say namesake won't help, and even for the student as well. If somebody is coming in, if they want to see how it works, and then if they can be a part of their team for a permanent position, think through that. If I do well here, I have a chance. I'm not guaranteeing you their job, but I have a chance to get into this, and then the career could be into this, because there are a lot of engineers who can make sensors. There are a lot of engineers who can make processes. But as a horticulture professional, we understand something which other people might not be able to understand: how the crop works, how the actual nutritional partitioning happens in the plant, how the irrigation mechanisms that go into the plant, wherein the xylem takes the water and how it is being taken in, and how the assimilations of each individual carbohydrates runs into. So there are things that we can actually add value to any of their processes in order to make it really what do you call a good one, and also more effective one. First thing is that, and then second thing is basically when we are also trying to get to the I mean, we are in the small phase, but we are actually trying to get it into the state skill development program also, wherein the government can pitch in and then provide an opportunity, maybe at T-Hub or any of these state level skill development institutes, so that we can train students. We can actually open up a class lectures wherein the students can come, get themselves trained, and I don't know if it would be cost involved, or the government is going to bear the things, but we are actually in talks with some of the lower managers, but it has to trickle into the upper management and also to the governmental sector. And then definitely the university, if they can pitch in and then do an MOU with a lot of things also, this project can take into a different shape altogether. And also certain thing is, if we have the classroom sections and also the auditorium, we can bring in people to train them out to do a 1 day or 2 day sessions, as to try to bring in closer to understanding as to how things.
And I want to, like, in fact, host this at any particular. We'll have one more dialogue so that whenever you're free, you can drop in there at college.
Sure.
We can do it in a project. I'm heading one project, as you all know that I'm in a PI of NAHAB.
Okay.
We have adequate funds so that we can, in fact, have some not only lectures. We'll have a platform wherein you can host. We can host a number of lectures. You can bring some people who can speak on this. So this is going to be very useful. Nowadays I'm getting so many phone calls, Satish, you don't believe. They are simply searching for the plant material. And I'm trying to link up them with so many nurseries. They say that it's not available, the quality material. I know you can have prepare a digital networking wherein you get every information from government nurseries, their stocks, everything. And you can give simply, they wanted just the information of availability of a good material. Just like they wanted one of the doctors, they were saying, Apollo doctor, she wanted teak plants. We were searching the tea plants everywhere, teak.
Yeah.
And we were unable to connect. They said out of stock. So finally, we were able to guide them to again this nursery, private nursery. We were surprised why we were unable to get information. I used to have so many contacts before. And can we have a day, any student who can meet any app which can create a database of all the nurseries, material, everything, pricing, so that it will be helpful to all the upcoming, particularly what is they call the professionals who are entering into this horticulture. So many doctors, so many softwares are there. They are right now into horticulture business, they can say. So they started planting mango orchards. They are planting dragon fruit. There are nobody who can guide them because and to how to get into this business or how to plant, what is material required, where is availability of material. So there's really a lot of gap. Only people who are handful of our professionals are there in the field who are really busy, and we need our young professionals into this business. So that's what is my ambition, is make them more professional. It might be a part-time also. Let them give information. Let them form a small club, SKLTSHU club, wherein you can click a app and you can provide all the information, expertise, what is the best problem, how to predict it, anything, any platform, plant health management, everything you can create it. So can we have such type of SKLTSHU club?
Yeah, we can.
With only young professionals.
The simplest thing that we can do is basically, madam, because everybody goes around and then searches for information every day. So if they find something important which is pertinent to a certain aspect, let's fix up certain thing. For example, we say, okay, landscaping only. I'm just taking an example of the same landscaping every time though. But if it's a beautification of a garden using a landscape, we create a topic, and then Dropbox is another place wherein there is a small app. Anybody who searches material can drop in. We can start a small page, and then whatever the information that they have, if I have found some information, I can come in and then open that page, that sheet, and then I can add that in. And then second person who is coming in will look at my message, will add something else. Third person who can, everybody can see this message. Third person can add onto the same sheet. So everybody, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Somebody has already done a lot of literature, and then some sort of a picture. So if somebody says, okay, there is a problem for the fruit disease, a boron deficiency, or any of the horticulture problem, and then somebody posts it, and then somebody can also add information, and then every information that you're posting is on a single sheet. So automatically everybody is on the same page. If I can read through the material, if I can understand the thing, because I don't have to do an Excel sheet or a Word document every time and then share it to somebody. I can be, if it's a unified page, if I can look at it, it is wonderful. We can start from there. We can start the literature so that it could be on any topic, be a soil science only. Somebody, we can start a Dropbox. We'll create pages and then say, okay, one is for weathering, one is for soil formation, one is for water management techniques, one is for certain nutrient management or nutrient evaluations. Anything could be done, and then each sheet, everybody, whoever finds some information which is pertinent, they can put it in there. That is one area where thing for what you have asked, madam, for an app or for to build a database. So same thing could be done on Excel or an access, and then it could be put into a Dropbox for a SKLTSHU. We can give an access to everybody who can click onto a link, and then they can come look at it. If I know certain nursery has it, automatically I can come into that thing, and then I can type in the number and then leave. Somebody else can look at it anytime, and then they can use that information, their pricing models or whatever it is. They can put in a brochure, they can click a picture and then add it to that. That can also be done. A visiting cards for somebody, or a flyer of somebody, or a marketing manager's contact number of something. That could be done. And simplest way, and I'm not talking about the app building and all those things. The simplest Excel sheet, everybody uses Excel, everybody uses Microsoft Word, and everybody uses a PowerPoint presentation. So this is the simplest way that we can start off, and then we can create a small team who can actually look at the data and then say, oh, somebody is not doing mischief into that, posting any inappropriate stuff in there, and then that could be actually be a startup to create awareness and also create interest.
Yeah, that is excellent idea, Satish. At least we need to have a number of sectors, just like your landscaping. I know just now you might be knowing that about the problem recently that because of neem ka problem, neem decline in neem. Everybody is predicting differently.
Yeah, somebody said it's people have been saying, people have been saying that the Wuhan virus is actually doing it.
Oh God, that's a rumor. Like everybody, they have their own. Why can't expertise? And people know what is a problem. Expertise should enter into that podium. Let us say encourage one of the expertise into that with scientific data. He can tell what is the problem. So we need to have such type of forum wherein we can invite some of the expertise also. For example, I can have some links with analysis. They can interact. That communication is missing. We can take their expertise. We can publish not only published data. We can within a matter of 2 to 3 sentences we can say that this is this problem. It has some evidence. That can be done. In fact. So thanks a lot, Satish. In fact, thanks a lot.
Thank you for the opportunity. And then we'll have much more sessions splitting up and then doing it later. But I want to give an opportunity to all the students or all the presenters who wants to do some sort of research and they want to present. It will be wonderful, because Talk Club is basically what we want to get from students is we want everybody to talk. So it could be a presentation. Don't look at your proficiency, your oratorial skills. All I want is how you're trying to convey the message. Your content is right, your outreach is right. As I said, your impact is right. Then that no need have to worry. Automatically, it is like a driving. When you start talking, maybe second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time, automatically you will improve. So it is basically like driving. The more you do it, the better you become. So I would encourage all the students out here, get in small things. It doesn't have to be very big issue. It can be a small thing that you can want to present. Please, out of the 1.5 hour, we can restrict we can ask the presenter to present or the guest lecturer to present 1 hour, and then you can take 15-minute slot or 10-minute slot, so that we can induce 2 students in a session sometime in a week, and then they can do one from Mojala, one from Hyderabad to start with, so that everybody gets encouraged. It shouldn't look like a teacher or a lecturer coming in and then they deliver a lecture. It's a monologue, and then okay, we record this stuff and then we can use it later. No, because it's an interactive session. This is the group that we've formed to understand how things work. What are the new things that have come into picture? How we can build careers in horticulture or agriculture so that we can contribute to the society. We can understand the concept rather than mugging up stuff, and then we can utilize and apply this knowledge for the betterment of the community and to make the nation proud. That's all we are here for.
Sir, you actually made a very good point, sir. Sir, I actually had a doubt. We write a resume and we write statement of purpose and all this other stuff. What makes us stand out apart from body language communication and the things we write on resume? Like everybody can write things on resume by taking some professional guidance, or let's say we are going abroad, they take help of some consultancy and they write something. But while we are presenting ourselves actually to anybody else, apart from communication skills, apart from body language and all the stuff, what else things are necessary apart from technical things and knowledge also? That is the thing I want to ask.
There are two things. First and foremost thing is you have to always assume. Don't ever assume that the person sitting in front of the chair is way too expert in things. If you know about certain things, you are good at it. You'll be the master in that. So don't people get panicked whenever they go for an interview, whenever they go for things, they perspire, they just panic out. First thing is keep yourself calm. Second thing is when you are attending an interview or when you're going for a career opportunity, do your homework. If there is a Bayer company or a Coromandel company you have applied, do your homework. When did it form? What are they doing? What are the products that they are doing? Where are they located? What is their jurisdictional area? And how my presence in this thing could help them. Basically, where should I hit the spot? So when you have that homework, when you have a clear thought of what you can do, when you enter the premises, make sure you don't go on time. In the sense, don't go late. My point is, if it's 9 o'clock, reach there by 8:30. Look at the premises. Look at whatever, when you go into the door, observe everything around you. There might be an award sitting on the table. There might be some picture of their managing director taking from somewhere. There may be a new product that has been launched from somebody. When you in your conversation bring that spontaneity into things. Sir, this is who I am. This is what I have did. I have want to bring in things. I have seen a new product coming into your product line. I'll be very much helpful because I have a lot of contacts in this particular district. It could be a Guntur district, it could be a Rangareddy district, it could be Khammam district, but it could be anywhere. So I have a lot of things that I can bring in. I can do a marketing things for you. I can do a sales thing, or I can do something which I can contribute straight away. Given an opportunity of about 15 days or 20 days, I can show my capabilities. These are my credentials. And I know that I don't have much experience, but I have a lot of experience in speaking up, trying to convince people. Even I have been in the top club. I've given a lot of presentations. I do have a convincing ability to talk to people, make sure that they understand the value of it, and then they are coming in as be able to pull them to buy my product. This is where the actual things come in. So when I propose that what I'm going to bring it onto the table, this is not a one-day job. It comes with experience. When we go to interviews, I always tell them, if you are trying to hit to a bigger unit where you want to end up, it could be a BASF, Dow Jones, or it could be any industry or any company. Don't directly apply to that company. Never do that. You do 3 or 4 small companies, get your experience. Basically, you have to understand where you are going wrong. You have to self-evaluate. You have to introspect yourself. Am I doing same thing over and again? I'm doing a repetition of what I'm trying to say, reiterating the same thing, or am I missing the points? If I have 10 points out there, am I going with 3 points only? When I communicate, all the 7 points have been lost because of the panicking mode that I have. Then you go back to your backstage and then do a rehearsal. You don't have to do anything. Stand in front of a mirror. Every day you spend about like 15 minutes combing your hair or dressing up. Same thing you do about 15 minutes or half an hour. Do same thing, see the mirror, and then you have a recorder in your phone. You open your phone, put in a recorder, and then do a conversation. You ask a question, you answer a question. And then after that, you leave it. After half an hour, you go back and then hear to the conversation that you have had. You will understand by yourself what mistakes that you are making. Am I missing a point here? I could have told it really well, but okay. Now, first time, second time, I'll do improve. So if you do that homework, I'm telling you, you will hit the jackpot. And this is the first thing that comes to my mind. Based upon several scenarios, I can give you a lot of options and opinions, and then I can give you suggestions also.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
We can have one more session regarding facing an interviewer, how to,
Sure.
and we'll have a separate session on this if possible.
Definitely. I can bring in people who have done a lot of interviews as well. I can ask them to join the meeting, and I can
Yes.
give them a right guidance onto that as well. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir, I think we are done with the questions, sir.
Okay. Shall we end the session?
Yes, sir, I can. We can.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Opportunity being provided, and I'll try to make it more effective from the next time as well. Okay.
Thank you, sir. We are looking forward for more such presentations, sir. And we need your guidance to grow. Thank you so much.
Sure.